This time on Rad Rat Comics, we're talking about a time where the Green Lantern got attacked by the designs on some coins. Like, you've got to hear this one. Welcome back to Rad Rat Comics, where I'm starting, I think I'm going to call this series Silver Age Shenanigans, because I just love finding these old, terrible stories. And I've got a new one for you. So I know I teased that I was going to talk about Snaps, who's like a greaser who snaps his fingers a lot, and he somehow became a member of the Justice League. We'll get there, but something very important came up. So this is my Green Lantern Silver Age Volume 2 Omnibus. I keep it on my nightstand, and I read one before bed. It usually puts me right out. But last night, I read the most amazing story, and I cannot wait to get up this morning and tell you all about it. So it is from issue number 41, which has a cover about Star Sapphire. That's the main story in this comic. The story we're talking about, though, is the backup story, the B story in the back. And it is just incredible. So let's take a look at what happens. Okay, so basically what's happening at first is this guy who's dressed nicely in a suit, he just got out of jail because he robbed a coin store, I guess. He's got these rare coins, he buried them, went to jail, and he's coming back to dig them back up. Now this story was immediately interesting to me. You can see some of my coin collection right there on the wall. I have a display. I've also got a box of some nicer stuff. I do like to collect coins. I've been doing that probably longer than comics, actually, but something weird happens when he digs up these coins. The designs are blank. What could that possibly mean? Why have the coins become blank? Did somebody dig them up and replace them with fakes and put them back in the ground? What's happening? Well, let's find out. We are right here, behind you. So, Chuck, he turns around and he sees the designs of the ancient coins come to life standing behind him. So he's got the owl from the Athenian Stater, the chariot from the tetradrachm of Syracuse, the man bull is from that same coin of Gila. Like, the designs of these coins have come to life, and they've been waiting for him in the woods, I guess. It doesn't make any sense, but it just gets better. Okay, let's see how this happened. Why did this happen? The Roman warrior here, he says, "The coins were once the possession of Simon Magus. Having been imbued with magic, a present-day wizard was able to gain control over us. However, to compensate you for your financial loss, we shall help you obtain substitute monetary objects." Okay. So here's what happens in this story so far. An ancient wizard has cast a spell on some coins. Throughout thousands of years, these coins, which are from different places, they have all stayed together in a group. They've passed from collector to collector over 2,000 years, and these magic coins are all in one spot. A wizard has used the magic that was in them to bring the designs, the engraved design of the coin to life, leaving blank coins in the ground, but he left the living designs out to help out the guy whose coins he ruined. Okay, so the wizard, he knew that there were coins in the ground over there, because of magic, fine, whatever. He brings the designs to life. He doesn't do anything with them, but he allows, and he's gone. We don't see him. He comes in toward the end, but he allows the coins to get more money for the guy to pay him back. For the criminal who stole the coins, they're going to pay him back. I have no words, but let's continue. Okay, so all of these coin designs can fly, even the bull with a man's face on it. They can all fly, so they fly him to a bank. The bull charges through the wall of the vault so that Chuck can steal all the money to pay him back for his coins. So that's what happens. But then Green Lantern hears about this. "What? Fantastic crooks? You haven't heard? Why, the radio's been blaring about them for the last hour. Some weirdo characters, led by a crook named Chuck Cullen, are looting all over Coast City. You'd better zip into your GL outfit and get after them. The police can't stop them at all. So, of course, once this guy has robbed a bank, he has millions of dollars most likely. He's of course going to continue this spree with his magical coin monsters. If he stopped right here, and you'll see what the plan is at the end. There is a reason why these things happen. But consider what would happen if he just stopped. He took this money, he retired away somewhere else, and that was it. Then the plan would have failed. But because Chuck is greedy, he decides to keep going. He decides to go to the House of Jewels. So Green Lantern appears and he makes a big green wall to stop them. And it says, "At the gallop, the great chariot and the man-bull crash right through the aerial barrier, closely followed by the Athenian owl and the Roman legionary. Yippee! We blasted through it! You guys are terrific! Now let's see you take him! Of course, that's why we have been reactivated. Our creator made us invulnerable to Green Lantern in order to fulfill our mission to make him a prisoner." Okay, so we finally got a hint as to what's actually happening here. This was all a plot against the Green Lantern. And this is the plan that they came up with. Magic coin creatures. So the thing about Green Lantern is his power is really random. In theory, it's as much as his mind, like as much as he wants something, the amount of will that he puts into something. So if he didn't really want that wall to stay there, they could have broken through it. But also sometimes they can break through it just because. So there's more magic involved, like whatever. It's magic, there's no rules, it's just gonna do whatever it has to do. Let's keep going. So a battle commences. The Roman legionary lifts his pilum and he throws it at him, but Green Lantern's powers essentially have no effect here. It passes right through his shield. He tries to scare the owl with a big tiger, but that doesn't work at all. The chariot charges at him, and there's a great wave coming at him as well. He puts himself in a protective bubble, but they break right through it. He has absolutely no power over these guys. He plunges toward the Roman warrior who lifts his sword and rushes to attack, just barely conscious enough to try and hold off that fugitive from a history book by creating a shield of my own. But guess what? The shield does not work. Nothing works, and they eventually defeat him. They fell him. They render him unconscious, and they take him back down to their master, the wizard. So we finally see, who is this wizard? Who is the guy who brought some coins to life in the woods and decided to just leave them there? And he allowed them to pay back the thief for using up his coins. Like, what role does Chuck play in this story? Why is he there? Why did they need him? I don't know. But let's see if we can find out. But here's how they get to the wizard. Soon the coin creatures shrink and shrink, becoming smaller even than the power ring which has been removed from Green Lantern's finger. Simultaneously, the limp crusader shrinks too. Yes, the magical beings and their prisoner are entering the power ring itself. They emerge into the world originally created by the Green Lantern, Abin Sur, to imprison the evil wizard, Mirwiden. At last, Green Lantern is in my power. Okay, so there was a story before this. It has a footnote for issue number 26. That Green Lantern mentioned was the one who died at the beginning of the series and gave his powers to Hal Jordan to become the Green Lantern. So there is a powerful wizard. The only thing he could do is create a tiny world inside his ring and banish him there. And so he's been there the whole time, I guess. And we'll see how he managed to get out, what his plan is. It's amazing. So there is a quick recap of that issue that it was talking about, where this wizard is very powerful, but he has to have rhyming incantations. So Green Lantern makes him so that he can't speak before he traps him in his ring. That means that he cannot do anything. But he does something really amazing. But did Green Lantern underestimate the extent of evil within the mage, and how that evil could inspire him to find a substitute for human speech? With enough of these shells, by tuning them precisely, I can duplicate the sound of my own voice by blowing air through them. Creating a crude but workable wind organ, he set about hurling his magic out into the lands beyond the power ring, making contact with magically empowered objects, the very coins that were owned by Simon Magus. Carving on the coin of Simon, come alive and be my demon. Have you ever seen like a cross-section? It's like a CT scan of someone like as they're talking and how complicated it is. your tongue will touch in the back of your throat, and then it'll touch up here for different ones, and the way your jaw moves and all this kind of stuff. He's able to create a wind instrument that sounds like speech. Like, how do you make a P sound with an instrument? Like, what key is he hitting to, like, hold the O and then he can, like, tap a P at the end? He manages to do this. And his rhyming magic that has to rhyme, he rhymes Simon with demon, which doesn't really rhyme. I mean, come on. That's not really a rhyme. But it works. So he manages to make contact with these coins. So Green Lantern happens to be near enough to the woods where these coins are buried, and he manages to reach out to them. And it says that they were all owned. So Simon Magus was a coin collector who got coins from all these different places and kept them together. And they were sold as a bundle for thousands of years. And so he is able to play a spell that the coins, I guess the coins don't have to hear it, right? So he plays his spell out loud, which brings the coins to life. Okay, but how does that help him get out of the ring? Let's find out. Now, having animated the coin creatures and commanded them to bring back Green Lantern as their prisoner, the mage gloats as he towers above his inert foe. What a joyous day this is, my long-awaited freedom from this power ring prison. Only Green Lantern himself can will me free by commanding his power ring to do so. I sent the coin creatures to rob for that crook Cullen, knowing Green Lantern would appear to stop them and fail, because I magically made them invulnerable to his powers. Next moment, the speechless wizard turns toward his magical wind organ. I can't wait a moment longer. I have been exiled here too long as it is. Green Lantern isn't wearing his power ring, and so he'll be forced to obey my command to release me. Okay, so he commanded the coin creatures to wait for the criminal to get out of jail and dig up his coins so that they can offer to help him on a crime spree, because that would draw in Green Lantern. But he's able to make the coin creatures invulnerable to Green Lantern, so his magic is more powerful than Green Lantern, right? So he could have done literally anything. He could have just played a spell that made his ring fall off and set him free. Like, it's just amazing. Like, okay, I was gonna say, sometimes they make it so that they need to tell what happened on the cover. They come up with an interesting cover, but this isn't even on the cover. This was their best work. Okay, so let's see what happens when he tries to command the Green Lantern with magic to release him from the prison. Green Lantern now shall set me free, so shall his power ring decree. That's all I wanted to hear. Pow! So what happens is the Roman soldier actually turns on him and punches him. What? How could this happen? To Mirwidden, I looked like a Roman warrior, but he didn't know Green Lantern's brain was inside the warrior's head. In my last desperate fight against the Roman warrior, I realized I could gain victory in only one way. These creatures are invulnerable to me, but maybe I can transfer the Roman warrior's brain into my body and my brain into his. If that works, I'll masquerade as the Roman until I find out who's behind this fantastic attack on me. Since the wizard's incantation was directed at Green Lantern, while the Roman's brain occupied it, the order could not be obeyed. Okay. This happens a lot in Green Lantern, where he'll have planned ahead and they don't tell you that, and you just see his plan work at the end. And it's always amazing. Case in point, right here. So he was fighting all of the coin creatures, and his power ring does not work. So what does he do? Does he use his power ring to pick up a big rock and throw it at them? And that way he's not directly attacking them, but the rock can? He doesn't do anything like that. What he does is he switches bodies with the soldier, and he decides to just wait it out and see what happens. And at the right moment, he decides to reach out and punch the wizard, and then he switches bodies back into Green Lantern. Next instant, Green Lantern leaps to the magical wind organ and imitates the voice of the master magician. Okay, quick point here. So not only was the wizard able to make an instrument that can play a voice, it plays his actual exact voice as well. Amazing. He couldn't use magic to do it either. He just found shells that made sounds that sound exactly like him. Anyway, let's see what the Green Lantern plays. Put Cullen in jail, return his loot, go back to your coins and there take root. I cannot control the coin creatures with my power ring since Mirwidden made them invulnerable to it, so I'll use his magical organ to get them to obey my orders. So Green Lantern grabs Mirwidden's magical organ and he puts his mouth on it and he makes it command them to go back onto the coins. And then to make sure this never happens again, he erases the wizard's memory of who he is and where he is so that he will just wander confused within the ring world forever. He doesn't give the coins back to the original owner. He doesn't know anything about that crime, I don't think. But that's what happened. So I read this one last night and I was just blown away by it. I put a second bookmark in there. I was already kind of falling asleep, but I needed to tell this one on the channel because it is incredible. So to recap, here's what happens. There's a wizard in Green Lantern's ring. He can only use powers when he speaks because he has to rhyme when he says them. He's lived inside Green Lantern's ring for years, months, I don't know. And so Green Lantern is near some buried coins. The wizard makes a spell. He knows this somehow. He writes a spell on an instrument that sounds just like him to bring the coin designs to life and then wait for the criminal who buried them to come back and then help the criminal commit crimes to lure in Green Lantern and capture him and shrink him down and bring him into the ring to command him to free him from the prison. That's the plot of this story, and it's amazing. So yeah, that's it for now. I've got this much of this book left, and there are some from the first volume that I wanted to share with you, but this one just had to cut the line because it was so good. So that's it for now. Subscribe if you want to see more of this. I've got different kinds of videos I want to work on as well. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.